What's up, everybody? It's Albert out here in my car. I was just looking at a few properties, and now I gotta a seller and see about putting those properties under contract so we could try to find a family for them. But I wanted to go ahead and do a little Q&A, see if anybody wanted to go ahead and that are starting out and have any questions. Feel free to ask anything about wholesaling. We can talk about your first deal. We can talk about my first deal. We can talk about what apps to use to make it easy on yourself. What apps do I use? Uh, we can talk about subject to, whatever it is. We can talk about. We could go ahead and do it now, since go out there and talk to you guys. So I just wanted to go ahead and say, for those of you guys that are new into the wholesaling business, it's very simple, but you do have to be consistent on what it is that you're gonna do, because if you're just starting out and you don't even have your first deal or haven't had your first deal, then you can't wait for it to land on your lap. It's just not how it's gonna happen. You have to get up. You have to you have to stop being comfortable, if that's what it is. I don't know. When I got fed up of my rate, or I went full-time investor or became full-time investor, I was comfortable. I was in that spot where as long as my bills were getting paid, I was okay. So I thought, right? And a lot of people think that way. As long as you have a job, obviously you're thankful for that. But that's all you do have, a job. Your bills may be paid for. Sometimes you're still struggling to pay your bills. So I think that was one of the reasons why I got into the real estate. That was one of my whys. I have a bunch of whys, but one of my whys was that, because I was fed up of working for somebody else and just being able to live by. Every other week get paid and just live by. Pay after my bills were all paid for. Mortgage. You have vehicle. You have insurance. You have food. You have electricity. You have water. You have clothing. You have kids. You have school meetings. You have all this beautiful, wonderful stuff that we like to do on a daily basis. I was left with, so needless to say, that was my why. One of my first deals, I'm not gonna say it was my first deal, but one of my first deal came out from Craigslist. Wholesaler had it on Craigslist, had a property on Craigslist, and I reached out to them. Ended up putting 100 on escrow, and he assigned a contract over to me 20 days, because his contract was almost up. So I only had 20 days with the contract. I didn't know much about it. My training came from YouTube University, so I didn't have a mentor or anything like that. And this is we're talking a little bit over 3 years ago. And took me about a week. I remember I took my wife and the kids out there one day after school. We all went out there. Met up with this one guy. it wasn't even the same guy. He had somebody meet me out there. It wasn't the contract holder. We did a walk through the house, had a bunch of stuff in it. Looked like it's been closed for 10 years plus. Smell like that. Um, Obviously, when you go into these houses like that, you never know. You never know where you're gonna get. It's like opening a box of something that you're excited to open it up, but when you open it up, you don't know what you're gonna get. Or what surprise you're gonna find inside there. So it's always interesting for me to go in when I go into these properties like that, because you'll be surprised the stuff that you find. So that was the first one. It was a nice little 3-bedroom, small brick house. Needed a lot. I remember it had a little basement in it. And in North Carolina, where I'm at, to find a property with a basement, you know that property is old, because they don't do them like that no more here. They're rare to find one. But the basement was flooded, because the windows on the basement were broken for many years, and all that rain had gotten in there, and it just took over that basement. So, but I put it under contract anyhow. I was excited. That was I can't remember if it was the first one or the second one. We were excited. We really didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. I knew what I wanted to do with it, and where my mind was. Obviously, I had done 3 or 4 or 5 months of research on YouTube on wholesaling. So put it under a contract. Then a few days later, we get 5. I try to schedule multiple people to come out there and kind of do like a little bid war, because if a buyer goes out there and sees other potential buyers out there looking, a few think that it's gonna go through their head. One, they may be thinking, hey, there's value in this property. There's people looking into it. So I want to be the first one to put an offer on it. Two, just the interest. It builds up momentum when people are gonna buy something. There's more people on top. So that's what we try to do. We try to schedule 3, 4, 5 people at a time, and kind of do like a little bid frenzy war. So on that first day, we had about 3 offers on the table. 3 good offers. So we got rid of that property. Let's just say, I think it was a week. We ended up clearing, I don't know, 14K, 15, can't remember. It was something like 14K, 14 and some change. And it only took us a week, and that's how we did it. We just had a bunch of people show up at the same time. I think that was kind of smart. We still do it till today, so it works out. But that was just one deal. There's many other stories out there. I try to keep it real in real estate. I always say that. I try to teach and show you guys and bring you guys videos and tell you guys the fine print on wholesaling. I know there's a lot of videos out there that are way nicer than mine, may have great information, but it's always that little fine print that we don't know and nobody wants to talk about. Well, guess what? If you ask me, I'll tell you everything I need to know, or everything I know and you need to know. The little fine print, I'll tell you. So, but anyhow, that was one of my deals. There was another deal, purchased the land. Lady had gotten it under contract with a wholesaler, and that wholesaler wasted her time. She didn't have it. She couldn't. I guess she didn't know what she was doing. To be honest, and she was asking way too much money for the value of it, especially the town and the city where it is, where it is, renovating it. So to make the story short, um, that one wholesaler had it under a contract, I think, for 30 days or plus. Couldn't sell it. I knew about it because I've already seen that property on Craigslist. I reached out to that person. The price was way off, but I knew the address. I knew the time frame on the contract, which I always ask if you're a wholesaler. And then one of the questions I'm gonna contract was up. I reached like a week before it was up. I knew it was about 5 days to get there. So by the time the postcard arrived, her contract was done. And it was done because they paid too much money, or the wholesaler was charging too much money for it. That's why she couldn't sell it. I got it on a contract